Well, welcome to a new Harry's Farm video. And the last time you were here, we were looking at that field over there, and I was hoping to put some mustard in, and I was grumbling because it was too hot, etc. Well, I'm pleased to report that's in, so we're going to have a look at that in a moment. The task today is actually this little stretch of ground here. It's 2 hectares, and this is a sort of bird mix that I'm going to put in here, and I've been trying to sort out the ground in here. And then I just want to show you the cattle are back, and there's some stone walling going on, and we're actually building a new bit of wall. So that's what's going to be going on in this video. Anyway, to kick off, we had to spray this off for thistles, all this ground. This is a miserable bit of ground. Why we don't really grow a crop in it, I sort of reserve it for this sort of thing. It's very heavy. I don't know if you can see this, but even after lots of scratching, that is just clay, miserable clay. But there is enough tilth here, I think. This is a particularly bad bit here, and we'll try and get a crop growing. What we're going to put in is actually a bird mix that is actually a feed through the winter, so canola. We'll have a look at the seeds in a minute. I just want to show you here though, because this is the mustard that we actually put on with the broadcaster on the front. And I'm chuffed a bit. So if you look here, you can see it's all coming up. It's about been in the ground, today's Friday, it went in on Sunday last week, so about 12, 13 days. Lovely, just perfect, because it rained just right. And the annoying thing is, I was doing this mix here because the forecast said, oh, it's going to rain today, definitely going to rain today. And then this morning they said, well, we're not actually sure if it's going to rain or not, which is the normal problem when you're farming, is you're constantly watching weather forecasts. And then they change their minds, but I'm still going to go ahead because it's only 2 hectares. Well, here's the mix we're putting in. 2 hectare bag here, a 1-year winter bird food survival mixture. Survival mixture sounds a bit strong, but canola, millet, triticale, linseed, etc. They're all things that are going to be have seeds that the birds will be able to nibble on in the winter months. This is sort of what it looks like. It seems like a lot of sort of mustard and canola is there, but then there's these bigger seeds, and well, it looks like a wheat seed, but I presume it's triticale. So that's what I'm going to spin on, and you use this thing on the front, which is just a broadcaster, which I've checked that it's opening at the bottom, etc. Main thing you've got to watch here is you don't drop the seed label in the hopper or something like that, because that'll just block it. And this is the scary bit, because I have to get a manual out to work out what rate to put on. So it's 25 kilos there, 2 hectares. This is 2 hectares, this little block I'm going to do. And I now have to work out where to put the settings. And this involves reading a manual, which is really scary. And there's a big formula here, which is dosage rate in kilos, speed, driving width in meters, and divide by 600. And then you get a flow rate per minute, and it'll all work out. So I'm going to disappear, just do a little bit of calculation, and then we'll get going. Right, well that's it. I'm now just going to go up and down the field and spin on this seed, and I hope my maths is correct. Now, the trouble with broadcasting seed on like this is a bit of an inexact science. A normal drill is very metered out and you get it very accurate. When you're spinning it on at the front, it's all a bit, it's touch, you know, it should work, but it's not very precise, to say the least. This strip of land is about 24 meters wide, and ideally you go zigzag all the way up, but that's just nonsense. I'm going to go up and down, and this is how I control the front. So I've got a spinning disc, as I say, that's the speed there, but I might slow down the speed of the disc so it doesn't spread quite so wide, and I'm going half rate, so I'll cover the sort of field twice, and hopefully it'll be about right, but it is all about an ish when you're doing this. So let's see how we go. Right, so that's all on. I'm going to put, I'm all ready to go. I know my mark. Here we go. So flow is on. Let's go and have a go. again, it's just controls on this one hand lever. So I said 12 kilometres an hour. I don't need very many revs doing this because it's hardly taxing the engine at all. So I might go up a gear to shut it up, back off the revs. 1400 revs. And hopefully that's all going, that's on, that's it. And the other trouble is you can't actually see the seeds. I sort of look out the window and maybe I see something flick or touch just as it lands, but yeah, it's all a bit of a mystery. So this is me for the next sort of half an hour. Nice to see the dust coming up, always a good sign when you're doing this. This thing is called a straw rake, this implement. It's just tines and it just, again, is tickling and stirring the soil. So I'll go up and down and then I'll incorporate it crossways as well, just to get a soil contact with the seed. That's the plan. Right, that's that done. I'm just bombing down the centre line. I'm up to 16 kilometres an hour, just running the hopper out basically. But it actually worked out pretty good. So that's a good sign. And, yeah, the dust is flying. So now all I want is some rain, really. I'm hoping that we get a bit of luck there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop just up here and we'll just have a quick look at the cows. So here we are. These are the Sussex cattle that come down here. Now, this is a suckler herd. There's no calves of these. These are known as sort of the dry cows is a term. They had calves. Calves have gone on to been taken off mum, and these are pregnant again, and they'll be having they'll be calving in 6-8 weeks. Well, they'll be leaving here in 6 to 8 weeks and then calving at the chap who cows they are at his farm. Just want to show you down here. We've got quite a mix here. We've obviously got all the buttercups and we've got quite a lot of clover. I'd like to see more clover in this. And all the grassland up here on the farm is organic. It's with the Soil Association. It doesn't have any fertiliser. It has no chemicals or whatever. And these cows, quite a few in the comments have asked, well, how can I buy the beef that, you know, that's produced? And what you want to do, I was reading in Farmers Weekly this week that there's a association, a pasture-fed livestock association, and there's been a real rush from people how they're supplying, because food, rather than going to supermarket, but actually going direct to source. And if you Google pasture-fed livestock association or grass-fed beef, that's how you do it. And this is sort of how you market the beef that is produced from these cows. And you go with a Sussex cattle. The more intensive beef production tends to be with continental breeds, as they're known, Limousin and things like that. These Sussex cows, you specialise with these because they can be what is termed finished on grass. Beef production tends to be you bulk up the animal before sale, and you tend to do that with feeding soya and stuff, and that's where all the issues are really, I think, that people are getting concerned about. These finish on grass. There's no need for a supplementary feed. There you can see it's quite a sort of bulky animal. It's good condition. You can see you can't see its ribs, the bones. You tell a beef animal because it's sort of squarer. If you look at a dairy animal, they're known as sort of triangular and they're very bony. Because they milk off their back, they lose body condition as they milk. That's how you get the excess, more milk production. These are different. These naturally bulk up on grass. They're a very popular breed if you're actually doing grass-fed beef or pasture-fed beef. So yeah, I keep seeing more and more clover down here. It's really good to see. So as I say, a very happy herd of Sussex cattle. There's 25 in here. There's another group coming up to they're going to have calves at foot and they'll be down the valley. Right, what I want to do now is take you up here because we've got some stone wall going up at the moment. Mark, my stone waller, is just working some magic up there. So let's go and have a look at that now. Mark, hello.
Oh, hi Harry.
You're building a wall yet again.
Yep.
Yeah, I ought to just explain, Mark is second generation of wall builder in this area, and we've done quite a few now, haven't we? Walls on the farm.
Yep.
I'm a bit hooked on doing these. I just think it's just lovely, and it's a craft that I can hardly understand why they stay up. But yeah, here, just to explain what's going on, we had a wall there that Mark has now taken down, and we've turned it through 90 degrees, and we're going to have a look how he do all that bit. And now you're building the wall up here.
Yep.
Yeah, going all right?
Yeah, very well. Yeah. We're about a third of the way up, I suppose. Going to go up to about here. And then with the top side, keep it the same height as that one all the way around.
And this one, because it's a new wall, I mean, like all walls, you have to get the foundations right, don't you?
Yes.
So, not normally these were just put in the earth, weren't they? Or were just
big stones on the bottom. Just dig a foot in and put the big stones on the bottom.
Yeah.
But nowadays, because we've got it, we've managed to dig a trench and get some concrete in there.
Yeah, I got it.
Only in the footing.
Yeah, but and then everything else is dry.
Yep.
And it looks ever so neat. Just lovely. So you've laid out the stones. We're a bit late here because you've been on it 4 days now, haven't you?
Yep.
But you've laid out the stones. So what's going on with the piles of stone that look just like they make more sense to you than me?
Yeah. They're actually what we call building stones along here, and every now and again, they're the ones that go on the outside, the face.
Yeah.
And then every now and again there's a pile of random rubbish, which basically is the rubble which goes on the inside.
In the middle.
Yeah, the middle fillers, as we call them.
So when I came up this morning, you decided what I'm going to do today. You were putting a row of these facing stones first, weren't you? Building stones first. Yep. And then, explain how it works. How do you start a wall? Where are you going to go from here?
Well, what I did to start with this morning was got my line, lifted my line up to where I wanted it to go, just as a rough idea, say about that height.
Right. Okay.
And then the same the other side, just so I've got a line across, because it's one of the most important tools to have when you're building a wall is a line.
Right.
There's probably 3 things you need when you're building a wall. It's a line, a hammer, and your radio. That's the important things.
And a cup of tea.
And a cup of tea.
Yeah. And it's Planet Rock or something, isn't it? On
Absolutely.
The radio,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good.
So you've got your line across.
Yeah.
Obviously it'd be the same height all the way across. And then I would build me wall, get my stone, put me stone down.
Yeah.
Get some middle fillers. Got a bucket of them up there, because pretty much every stone you put down, you want to just prop them behind.
Right.
Just because you want to, if you can, just a very slight lean forward. Just keeps so the rain runs off them.
Oh, okay. Oh, you want this sloping?
Yeah,
this
very
way?
slightly. Just slightly leaning forward. So you want to prop up your stone behind.
Right.
Then you want to find another stone which looks a similar sort of height to that one.
Right.
And then put him next door.
Yeah.
Get another stone. And prop him up. Sometimes you might need a couple.
Right.
And then basically I mean, some people do a whole course that height. I tend to do it as I go along. I'll do a few, and then I'll do a little bit more. A good thing with the stone, if it doesn't fit that way, that's all wonky. Turn it around the other way.
Oh, hey,
it's a treat.
Hey, made for it.
Yeah. Then stick a stone behind there just to prop it up. Sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes it sits nicely. And then basically what I do is I build a course all the way along.
Yeah.
One side.
Yeah.
Up like that, and then I'll do the other side.
Yeah.
And then, as you can see, what I'm doing here, I've built both sides up, and I'm filling the middles now. So both sides will have stone holding them up and propped up, either side, and then the middle filling stones will then, as you can see, they don't just get thrown in.
There's a bit of a gap here, isn't there? So you're gonna.
Yeah. Let me get me bucket. Get myself a bucket of middle fillers. Yeah. And then you middle fill. But like you say, you don't just chuck them in. No. Each stone has to be placed. Keep it flat.
They were chucked in the middle.
No, you've got to keep it dead flat, because you don't want it wonky, because if it's wonky then it could, the stone could go downhill, and that's when you get the walls caving in.
Right.
And you want to try and put every stone interlocking under another stone.
Right.
So you've got the outside stone, the middle fillers are holding these stones, and then you want the middle filling stones to hold those stones, if you see what I mean.
Right.
So it is like a big jigsaw puzzle, basically.
And it uses a lot of stone.
It uses a lot of stone.
I can't get over it.
It's very surprising, especially the middles, how much stone disappears.
I know. I can't get over it.
Yeah.
So you're coming up to halfway, aren't you? Well,
another course, halfway.
Course. Yeah.
Another
so
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is about 10-metre wall.
Yep.
I'm trying to think if it'll be 10 days, will it? So it's, I suppose.
Well, another day probably will get me halfway. And then that's 3 days of actual building. There was a day or so of preparing at first. So probably about another three to 4 days of building, and then toppers, tidy up, probably about another week.
Yeah.
4 to 5 days.
So
probably left.
Yeah, it is about 10. Yeah, a metre a day. Though you don't normally work it out like that.
Yeah.
But I suppose this is a sort of nice run, but it's just magic, and I can't get over. You did a bin. I was just going to have it 90 degrees, and then Mark said, "Oh no, I can do a curve." Yeah, really show off. Yeah, look at that. It's just lovely. I mean, it's absolute art.
And the other end,
let's have a look at that.
This is what's going to happen down here. We've got to do this soon.
Yeah.
You've got a coin stone, which is
a
right angle, or as near as damn it.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that would go. They're the ones that would then go like so, and then one the other side. You find one. I mean, that's not perfect, but that's what you got your hammer for. You can just chisel that off.
Right.
And then that can go that way, or that way, and a piece of stone in the middle there.
So you look everywhere for a right angle stone, and you go, ooh.
Exactly. Yeah. If when I'm sorting the stone out, if I ever come across any cornerstones, I'll put them to one side, because you can never find them when you want one.
I can imagine.
If I had no coin stones and I said, right, I've got to find one in this pile, one of these piles, I'd never find one.
Yeah. Excellent.
So it's always best to keep them by.
And the other bit I couldn't get over when you were doing this, they're not straight, the walls of the stone wall, are they?
No.
There's an angle in like that.
Yeah. So it's a gradual. There's about 6-7 inch from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
Just a very slight, just so it keeps it nice and compact, and instead of it being straight, you've got more chance of it moving. If it's at an angle, it stays
just more stable.
It all helps itself lock in together.
It's flipping brilliant just seeing it evolve, and it's sort of quick. We're lucky here because we've got a lot of walls that we've got sacrificial walls around the buildings that are just overgrown and in woods and things, so that's where we get the stone from.
Because the other thing with an old wall, if you take an old wall down, you never have enough
to
stone
build
to build. If you're building exactly the same wall back up, you never have enough stone.
No.
It just disappears.
Yeah.
Don't know where, it just goes.
Yeah, and it's just lovely having all the old stone as well. That it just gives it and looks as though it's been here forever, even though this is like a week old. That's lovely.
Definitely.
There you go. Well, that's flipping ace. I can't wait to see next week, because by the end of next week then
we'll be up there.
We'll have another visit, and we should have the toppers on.
Yep.
Fantastic. Oh, thanks, Mark.
No props.
Yeah. Back to the Planet Rock then.
Back to Planet Rock.
Yeah. Go and do a bit of that. Excellent. Really chuffed how that's all coming together. Just seeing this old craft, keeping it alive, and putting these walls up. This looks a complete mess here, but it's not actually. This was a wildflower mix from last year, and I was going to replant it, but there's so much clover coming up. This is just wild rape, or volunteer rape. Oh, that's is that tansy, I think. Red clover there, vetch here. So it's all going to be full of colour as next few weeks. You want that mess there is actually an area for birds to nest in, ground nesting birds. I leave an area completely untouched, and that's the idea there. It's all part of the stewardship scheme. We've been really busy over the last few weeks, and there's just I can't pack it all into one Harry's Farm video, so I'm going to do another one next week when we go around the arable and just look what's going on there. The linseed is just about coming into flower, so that should look really good. Quite a lot of spraying, quite a lot of fertiliser been going on, so I'm going to explain how the sprayer works and show you the different nozzles, how we put liquid fertiliser on rather than solid fertiliser, that sort of thing. So there's going to be another video coming along fairly shortly, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, well, keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos coming along very soon. Bits in. Don't mind. Don't mind.